What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hitting the Apex. Look who's back. Look who's back. The fan favorite. Oh, boy.
Hey, beautiful.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Evan is back. Look at this.
Evan was on time. Evan was on time. He was like, Moni's going to be on the show. Yo, I'm going to be there at 7:55.
I will say there was no indication that she was actually coming this time because every week I'm like, she's going to be here and we advertise that she doesn't show up. So
she's like
nothing different happened this time,
bro. She's the Larry Bluestein of Six Rings. You know?
He shows up most of the time. I feel like you're being mean to Blue here, but it's been a while. It's been a minute here.
Moni, what's going on? How you doing? How you living?
I'm living. There's so much going on, everything's great. There's health, there's work, there's F1, so we're good.
Well, it's good. F1 season is over, so that should, kind of. Max Verstappen has already won the championship, so you can move on to the other things then.
Before we get started, congratulations. Happy International Women's Day to you.
Aww.
It should be celebrated every day anyways, but,
Thank you. Thank you, Jazz.
Of course. So, now that Season 6 of Drive to Survive is going to be canceled because there's not going to be anything exciting going on now that we know that Red Bull is always going to win by at least 10 or 12 seconds. Aside from that, look, still some really awesome storylines. As you can see, I'm representing.
What are you going in with Alonso, or is this a science thing? What has happened here?
No, I just gotta give Alonso his props. The Spaniard. You gotta give him his props since I can't. I'm not wearing this hat. I'm not wearing this hat for another week or so. Although it's funny. It's funny though because this happened the reverse last year, right? So last year, Max DNF'd and Leclerc, who was the clear second racer on the grid, according to everybody at the beginning of the season, won the race, and Max DNF'd. Now it's the other way around. Now Max won the race and Leclerc DNF'd. So, hey, listen, maybe that means that Leclerc's going to come back and win the championship. No, I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen.
Leclerc DNF'd out of third place, like 10 seconds behind Perez.
It wasn't his fault that he DNF'd, though. So
no, but it's not the same thing as like he was winning and DNF'd. He was nowhere close. No one was close.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. But, excuse me, shout out to...
it's almost like they shouldn't have let them get away with cheating. I'm just throwing it out there that maybe... maybe allowing you do a new car spec last year and allowing a team to violate the cost cap might not have been smart. I'm just gonna put that out there.
But that's neither here nor there, right? Apparently,
it's everywhere. It's at the front of the grid.
It's here. It's there. It's everywhere. It's a Red Bull, man. My goodness,
cheating Austin Martin. But anyway.
Oh my God, yeah. Now Aston Martin's cheating. Oh, what the hell, Moni? What are your thoughts though on the Bahrain Grand Prix and just kind of the events that happened this past weekend?
I was pretty excited. I gotta tell you guys something. I've been dreaming. Who's calling you in the middle of our show, huh?
My mom. That's what happens. That's what happens when I can't use my headphones. And my mom starts calling me and bothering me in the middle of my show. Unbelievable.
So I just gotta bring something up because I want to know what you guys think. You've obviously heard of the Bahrain curse, right?
Yes.
Do we think, because that's what I've been thinking about for the past 72 hours, is Max Verstappen going to break the Bahrain curse? Like, what do we think? Because
yes, the answer is yes to that.
So yes, I know it is, but let me dream, okay? I like to dream. I want to be a hopeless romantic, and I want to say that the Bahrain curse is going to stick around,
But what are you dreaming for? Yeah, what are you dreaming for?
Huh?
What are you dreaming for?
You need to ask that question?
Are we talking about Chiquito?
If something happens to Max, there's only one other person that can win.
The
other cars are not close, man. They're not close. So what she needs is like Lance Stroll to torpedo Max into an injury, and then only thing left to do is have Checo win. So actually, it'll be Daniel Ricciardo in the other car.
Woo! Wouldn't that be awesome?
He's the reserve driver for.
Like, honestly, tell me if that wouldn't be kind of cool.
I'd be.
I mean, I'm not wishing wishing serious injury on Max. I'm gonna throw that out there. You said it would be cool. That was not for me.
No.
That'd be hilarious.
Listen. It wouldn't be cool for him to have like a really bad injury and or situation going on. However, I do think that it would be cool that for X, Y, or Z, we see Danny Rick on the grid all of a sudden. But that's just me.
I mean, it could happen after, Max clinches the championship in like July, and he's like, I'm just taking the rest of the year off.
True. That's true.
That's not gonna happen. Max is too prideful. He's too much of a masochist for that stuff.
No, but honestly, I thought it was a pretty cool race. I can't complain. It was a decent weekend for Checo, obviously, and Red Bull, flying colors, which makes me wonder if this is going to be like such little competition the entire season, which I hope not. And then Aston Martin comes in and gives me a little bit of hope. And I'm like, okay, maybe we are going to see some little bit of action in the front of the grid, which is what I hope for. And I know what everyone hopes for.
It should be. And good segue, Moni. You fit right back in. So looking at the results, I mean, there's third and then there's 40 seconds back, which are both true things. But
my God,
it's not close.
Yeah, it's not.
This is not close. Like, this is so over. You're not making up 40 seconds. Like,
not even P2, not even Sergio.
I mean, Checo checked out too. Like, I mean, he's 20. Like, if that was the gap from Checo back to Fernando, you'd be like, it's over. Checo's going to win every race.
Yeah.
You don't make up that much time. And it's another 11 seconds up to Max there.
Yeah, I don't know how that. I don't know how they're going to be able to do anything else. Like, how is any other team, even if it's Aston Martin, which, by the way, not only
there's a question from Kyle, I think, relevant.
Yeah, it is a relevant question because it wasn't only Fernando Alonso, right? It wasn't only him. Like, Lance Stroll finished in P6. That's a solid finish for this guy with two broken wrists, basically.
Yeah, so I was gonna say a couple of days after surgery, no big deal.
Because he was trying to screw my prediction, which was
that P6.
Bastard.
That P6 is probably
bastard got in the car with broken wrists.
What's that? That P6 is P7 if Leclerc stays in, right?
Yeah.
But still, Aston Martin finish it. That's racing. That's Formula One. This kind of crap happens all the time. Top teams DNF or bottom feeders DNF. It doesn't matter. So, you could find yourself on a podium like Fernando did, or you can find yourself at the in the top five and with a team that might not be as competitive otherwise. So, but with all that being said, yeah, Aston Martin. I mean, if this race pace is legit and it's true throughout the season, yeah, of course they have.
But I would say Evan's point is well taken. We're going to talk about that a little bit more detail because accusations have been made. But the last time they copied a car was when they copied the Mercedes. If you remember the pink Mercedes from a few years ago.
Yep.
They started near the front and then they couldn't develop it because it wasn't really their car.
Right.
They didn't understand the design concepts, well, they couldn't advance it. And by the end of the year, they dropped back down the grid.
Now, let me ask you this: you'll probably know better than I would. Vish, is there anybody that went over to Aston Martin that's with that Red Bull?
Yes, okay. And that's where one of the chief Red Bull engineers, I think Dan Fallows, I think is the name, went to Aston Martin.
Gotcha.
Which is where, and again, we'll talk about this in a bit. The accusations are coming from that he might not have just taken his brain with him.
Yeah, exactly. There's some manpower.
Yeah, they hired some Red Bull people, and Helmut Marko accused them of potentially stealing documents on their way out.
I mean,
might as well just get into it. I keep saying we're going to talk about it later. Might as well do it now. So Helmut Marko came out and said, yes, they took a lot of our people, and obviously we can't, control what's in their brain, but could they really copy it that well without having designs? So,
this is Red Bull Gate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is
Livery Gate. Livery Gate. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I do love Red Bull accusing other teams of cheating, though. I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, we're here now. We're here.
There's a saying for that, but I can't. I will try to remember the saying that I'm thinking of that applies to the situation perfectly.
But I do think there's an open question on like how much more can Aston Martin advance this car?
Right.
Because as Ferrari and Mercedes get better throughout the year, are they going to actually keep up with them, or is this kind of like their high water mark?
Who's that up to? That's up to Lawrence Stroll, right?
Well, no, I mean there's financial restrictions on spending, period. So,
Right.
And there's restrictions on wind tunnel time and all that. So it's really just how much are they able to? Are they like you can look at a car and say it's going this fast, but this is how much potential it has. Where are they on their potential scale?
Right.
Because even from last year to this year, like they were several seconds faster. It's the same design, just a year to develop it.
That's
Everyone was right. The pole was like in Q1, like everyone was faster than the pole last year. That's how quickly these things develop. So, in terms of who's finishing second, because no one's going to develop enough to catch Red Bull.
Yeah,
but it's really who's going to develop best out of Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin.
Vish, Moni, that's my question. Like, how are they? How is Red Bull so much faster? Like their race pace, it doesn't even like nobody compares to it, right? So look, and that begs the question also, right? Like, is this going to be a boring ass F1 season? Because you're going to see the Red Bull
seasons.
Oh yeah, seasons. I guess you're right. Is this going to be boring, right? Where we're just going to be like sitting there and it's going to be Checo and Max, P1 and P2 all the time, or P1 and P3 or whatever. And they're constantly going to be on the podium, and they're not. It's not like they're going to be competitive with anybody else. They're just going to blow away the competition. I mean, there's got to be something that the FIA or F1 is going to want to do to get more competitiveness out of the other cars to be able to match it with Red Bull. Because if not, like, what the hell's the point, right? It's going to be boring. Nobody's going to give a crap. Like, how does that work? Like, there's got to be some sort of balance where someone, I don't want to say someone steps in and does some shit, but someone steps in and does some shit.
I mean, they did to Mercedes at the end of the last cycle because the same thing happened. Mercedes was winning everything easily, and they took away, I forget if it was low or high rake. They kind of banned the pillar of Mercedes design concept. They had to modify the car. They tweaked rules, right, but they made it so it totally shifted everything to Red Bull's design concept, which is why, we all know what happened at the end of that season, but it was a tie, essentially. They made the cars level. Right. By changing the rules to favor one design concept over another.
But I don't want that either, right? Like I don't.
Well, that's how Red Bull eventually caught up.
Yeah, of course.
Now, at the beginning of that cycle, Mercedes was doing what Red Bull's doing this year. It was like both their drivers were fighting each other to see who was going to win. No one else really mattered. Yeah. Red Bull was catching up slowly over time. That's why you saw Verstappen and Ricciardo winning races. But the way they actually caught all the way up, they changed the rules. I mean, that's what happened. Yeah. And Mercedes had to adjust their car to fit with, and some of their advantage got taken away that way.
Let's talk about the predictions, right? I mean,
let's not. How about we don't do that?
I'll tell you what.
My man Dragovich, though, man, he put in a hell of a show in hospitality. So
I'll tell you what. I won. I got really close.
I didn't. I don't remember what I picked, but I know it wasn't close.
So we're gonna go with Moni's. We're gonna go with Moni's first. Moni, you had Checo, Leclerc, Hamilton, and then Max DNFing. So none of that happened.
I mean, we didn't see Max all day, so maybe he did DNF.
Maybe he did, and we don't even realize it.
Technically,
I didn't see him out there. I mean,
I think he could have DNF'd.
He was there at the beginning, and then I didn't really see him again.
He could have DNF'd and still won. Vish, we had Hamilton, Sainz, and Checo, and then. Of course it happened. Exactly what you said was going to happen.
I know. I said this as I was predicting it.
Yeah. Dragovich ahead of Alonso.
That was totally reactionary to your
at the buffet line.
I mean, yeah, in hospitality, he led the way there. But that was like totally in a reaction to what turned out to be your correct prediction, which was that because Alonso's on the podium. I'm like, oh yeah, watch this.
What did I tell? And I got my surprise right also. Well, half right. I had Max, Leclerc, and Alonso in that order. Max got P1, obviously. Alonso P3. Leclerc, but I had Sargent in the top 10. So Williams ended up in the top 10.
All I heard was you got P2 wrong. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Wait, remind me what Sargent was?
Logan Sargent ended up, I don't know. Where did he end up?
Wasn't he like 11?
Yeah, he might have finished right outside the top 10.
Yeah,
Albon's finished
12.
That's a nice finish for his first race as well. The Williams looked all right, man. Albon finished what P9 and Sargent P12, right? Not bad. Not a bad
shabby at all. Not too shabby.
Yeah, not a bad. The ones that started off really hot are your boys, Vish. Ugh.
So
are they the new Williams?
Look. So you all owe a debt of gratitude. That race would have been really boring if Norris wasn't pitting every 5 laps to get his pneumatics topped off. So all the excitement came from McLaren. Kudos to them for not retiring the car and instead, we'll just pit every few laps and refill it. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And I love how, like, at one point, like when Hamilton and Alonso, they were battling and Norris is like keeping pace behind, like, wow, that McLaren has pace. I was like, no, if you pit for fresh tires every 3 laps and you can push as hard as you want because you got to pit again to top it off, you're going to be fast. That's how Zhao ended up with the fastest lap. Like, if you have fresh tires on, you can push as hard as you want.
Did he? Zhou finished with this fastest?
If you put, because there's multiple things going on, right? When you put fresh tires on your car, it's obviously faster. But if you can put fresh tires on and push as hard as you want, because even when fresh tires get on the fast car, like, all right, I got to do 20 laps on these. You're not going to really. But Norris, man, that guy was living the dream. You could just push the whole time. I'm going to the pits in 5 laps anyway, so these tires are not going to get worn. He didn't finish in the points. He didn't finish in the points, so he didn't get a point for it.
But he got the fastest lap.
So no one got a point for it.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But that's how much difference. Like, if you have a fresh tires and you can push on it, you will go faster than everyone else.
Right.
And Norris spent most of the race in that situation because he had to pit again. Anyway, this is what the driver's points ended up.
By the way, my bad. Albon ended up in P10. Excuse me, not P9. It was Pierre Gasly in his debut with Alpine Renault. In P9. Okay, not too bad there. Bottas, P8, which is nice. George Russell all the way down in P7. Isn't that funny how we're like, oh, P8, nice for Bottas. George Russell all the way down in 7.
We're gonna be talking about that whiny ass hat later. All right, because that boy.
Have you guys seen the video? Have you guys? So every year there's like one driver that just looks absolutely ridiculous, like in the intro. Right. And this year it's Russell's turn. Have you seen the video?
No.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Wait, this is the thing with the drivers at the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, So we can get demonetized. No one pays for this anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we're gonna get.
I don't know what the payout is for 5 viewers, but I don't think it's much. We'll risk it.
I think we're okay.
We'll risk it.
Okay, hold on.
Oh man. So, what was your biggest? I guess we can talk a little bit about your biggest surprise though for Rio. I know that we all had kind of our thing here. By the way, let me see if anybody got it right at all. No, Max Ham Sainz. Gus had Oscar Pistachio in the points. That didn't happen because he DNF'd.
Boy.
Verstappen, Sainz, and Hamilton. And Evan had Max Checo inside. He had 2 right, so that's good for him. Alonso in the top 5 with a rookie in the top 10. I don't think any rookie ended up in the top 10.
It's awesome. It's literally so cool.
Here it is. What is this? The George Russell one? Let's see.
Yeah.
Do we need the sound on?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Let me see. See if this plays through. I don't know if it will.
Here we go.
I don't know if it's playing through.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, and then they made a lot of memes of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh, it was great. It was like a bunch of memes of like him holding Max on this side, holding Hamilton on this side. Oh man, yes, I do remember that.
I knew you had seen it.
So all of my predictions are terrible, but my read on that dude is spot on.
100%. 100%.
We're gonna get more into that because he had some comments during it after the race I got a problem with, but that's for later.
Gosh,
screw that guy.
Yeah, what are your biggest surprises though? Like, is there anything that kind of stood out to you aside from the obvious stuff, but like just anything else in general? Moni, you can go.
Sorry.
Whatever, hey.
Oh, sorry.
She's down TikTok wormhole now. Now that she opened TikTok up, she's gone.
I was just really thinking about that video. Okay. Honestly, you know what? Okay, I'm skipping a couple of steps here. But I was very pleasantly surprised by Gasly. He was, I mean, this is why I'm saying that I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but he was my driver of the day. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I'm not gonna go too much into it. But yeah, honestly, I'm feeling the grid. I'm feeling the grid this season. I'm a
A little
fan.
bit of a change, a little mix up. There's mix up.
Right. And honestly, I mean, everyone is obviously nonstop talking about Aston Martin. So I think like that's to me, to be honest, one of the most important things that happened this weekend is whether you're going to be able to add Aston Martin to like the front of the grid, and whether or not you're going to see more competition in the front, and whether what you guys were saying in the beginning, would they be able to keep up with the development of the car the way that Mercedes and Ferrari would to try to catch up to Red Bull. So to me, that's like one of the most interesting things this season, to see how spicy the front of the grid can get, and if Aston Martin can be part of that.
Yeah. What about which, by the way, you know what? I guess it really doesn't matter the start, because at the start of the race, Leclerc just got a better start than Perez, but you saw Checo just immediately after a couple laps just get right back in front of him. So I know they fought a little bit, but the tire deg on those Ferraris wasn't going to be able to hold up anyways. Vish, what are some of your surprise?
So I'll go. I mean, I could pick a driver. We could say Alonso. I'm gonna go with the team.
Yeah,
because I was so proud of your team, Jazz. Because they got to about lap 12, they came on the audio on the in-car radio, and they go, Charles, we're on plan A. They were still on plan A. Look at these. Look at the maturity here.
That's a record.
I was like, yes, plan A.
We're breaking records.
Usually it's like lap 2, and they're like plan Z. I'm like, how did it go that wrong that fast? In this case, they got to like lap 10. It was plan A, and I'm like, there might be competence.
Maybe.
I still think, I know Aston Martin is the way. I think if anyone's going to even remotely challenge Red Bull, it's got to be Ferrari.
That is so funny.
So maybe it gave you a smidgen of hope before they blew up in Ferrari fashion later in the race.
Listen,
that maybe they could challenge. Maybe they
were going backwards in the alphabet. You never know.
Like, we're full of this way. That's true. You know what? You took away my moment of joy now. Because I was like thinking, Ferrari has competent strategy. Maybe, they're definitely, I think, as a team, more capable of competing. I know that Aston Martin ended up, well, if Leclerc didn't blow up, he probably would have finished third. We'd probably be talking about this a little differently. Yeah. But, I was like, Ferrari with some actual strategy here. They're on plan A on lap 10. I am very happy with that.
Yeah, I just don't think, look, and to be honest with you, like that, that track also is really harsh on your tires, even if it's even with the track track evolution and all that stuff. It's if you're not known for good tire management anyways, on top of the fact that track is like straight up rocks, basically it eats up your tires, right? And they all thought that hard tire, which is a new hard tire now,
right,
was going to hold up, which it did. It held up. It actually wasn't a bad tire to use for this race. The soft tire just wore out way too fast. So I just think that's something that Ferrari's going to have to do. My is kind of work on the tire deg. But that's tough, because I think that's from driver to driver. That's really, sometimes I don't know how much the car has.
Man, if Smooth Operator can handle the tires, then you're in trouble.
Poor guy. But it's all right. Hey, P4. Not bad. Yeah, my surprise, it's a surprise. I'm going to go. I know we want to go driver of the day also. And yeah, my driver of the day, if I had to think about it, would be Fernando Alonso.
It's got to be Alonso, right?
It's got to be Alonso. But, the Aston Martins, man. The Aston Martins, both. P3, what's up, Al? Yes, he is. Late nights with Alex.
Gus made an appearance.
Hey, Gus, why don't you, anyways, listen, it's got to be that Aston Martin. That Aston Martin. If they're not cheating, they look great.
They're probably, both things are probably true.
Yeah. Or they could be, right? Either way, right? If you're cheating, you look great. You look great doing it anyway.
Hey, man, about sometimes someone decided to cheat back at Red Bull and get back on top here. Yeah, go ahead and cheat.
Someone's got to keep up with them. So I'm just interested to see if if they're like Moody said, like we all mentioned kind of already, right? If the development can continue to keep up with not only Red Bull but Ferrari and Mercedes are going to keep developing their car. They're going to get faster. So if they can keep up with those top three and be competitive and kind of give Ferrari and Mercedes a run for their money, I think that would be exciting because all this talk about it being boring for the next 22 races because Red Bull's going to run with it. At least that second and third position is going to be exciting to watch. And that's all we can hope for.
I was thinking that about like with 15 laps on the race. Like if Red Bull wasn't on the grid, this would be like the most exciting race ever.
I know.
Except really there's two cars like 40 seconds up the road that just ran away from everyone.
Like they're not even in the race. Like they're not even.
They checked out and were gone. Yeah.
Well, it's funny though. Someone was mentioning it that the advertisers are going to get pissed off by it. If you're Red Bull, you're not in the picture half the time because you're so far ahead, so you don't get that much airtime, right? And then if you're the McLaren, you're not getting much time either because you're all the way at the back.
No, man. If you pit every 5 laps, you get a lot of camera because they love showing those pit stops.
That's true.
Norris was all over that, man. They had to show all the pit stops. All the pit stops.
Excuse me, guys. Excuse me.
Actually, Max is probably in good shape to get a lot of airtime just because, when you lap cars, you catch up to the other battles that are actually happening.
True.
So, after he laps everyone like 3 or 4 times, get on there a lot. So.
Was it Joe and you that got the fastest lap?
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
But shows you what tires can do. You put fresh tires in the car and push. So
we all kind of gave our driver of the day / team of the day. What's your disappointment of the day? What's some of you this?
I mean, have you ever seen the sign like when Trump first became president and they held the sign said my expectations were low, but holy bleep. McLaren. I expected nothing, and somehow I didn't fit. I did not figure it. DNF for one car, like 5 laps in, and the other one having to pit every 5 or 6 laps.
That was weird, man. I kept hearing, and Norris is back in, boxing.
Yeah, no, he was leaking some kind of pneumatic fluid, so they kept just pulling him in to top it off again. It was the most bizarre thing. It's got to be McLaren, man. Yeah. Just collectively, as a whole outfit, as a whole crew.
Moni, what do you got?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Jazz. My disappointment of the day was probably Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
Just because I honestly did think that he was going to be able to hold on to 3rd place, and I don't know. There came a point towards the second half of the race, towards the end, where he was just like struggling with Alonso and Hamilton around him. Like,
I'm surprised he held off Hamilton, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. And I was also being a hopeless romantic, that maybe Ferrari is going to be on the podium. Hopefully that would be really, especially after the DNF. I'm like, let me just be a hopeless romantic. Maybe Sainz will get on the podium. So I was pretty disappointed by that. And I felt that maybe he struggled a little bit. So como que nos sacó las agallas. I don't know. I just didn't see it, But
that was a little countryman on countryman crime there too. So it kind of hurt me. But that's why I'm just representing La Roja today because
Boy, you abandoned ship pretty quickly there.
No. I would never abandon.
Wait, is that the hat that I bought you?
Yeah.
I remember.
This is it.
Great taste. That makes sense.
I had to wear it today because at least a Spaniard got on the podium.
That's true.
But look,
I accidentally wore a papaya hat, so I'm still rocking this, I guess.
Like either way, whether it's McLaren because it has an M, so either way, whether it's McLaren or Miami today, they both crap.
Yeah, that was not. Yeah, let's not talk about the baseball team.
So, look, my disappointment of the day, of course, has to be Ferrari as a whole. You just can't have, reliability issues already. I was so disappointed to see because we had that podium, at least P3 wrapped up with Leclerc. And then it's an opportunity. To be quite honest with you, I know that Alonso was right behind, was right behind Carlito a lot of the way. I don't know how that plays out if Sainz defends a little bit more, if they use a different strategy. I hate to say it, but if they use a different strategy, to kind of keep Alonso behind Sainz anyways, considering, Leclerc was up there. But I think once he DNF, once his car crapped out, I think that was it, right? Like at that point, it was Alonso was just, I think either way he was going to go for it, but I just think it changes strategy. As we've seen plenty of times in F1, it just changes the strategy of how these guys race sometimes. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I'm also a little disappointed in, I get why they did it, but at the same time, did it really benefit them? Now that I think about it, like why Leclerc didn't go for pole, right? I think he had an opportunity also on Saturday to go for pole and qualify in P1 or P2, and then after he did his, his outlap and he kind of, had a nice time. He decided, the team decided to hold off on using a new set of tires to try to get pole because I guess they wanted to use them for the start. Which, okay, yeah, it helped him out in the start because he was able to overtake Sergio. But Sergio got it right back. I mean, it was just, and it almost seemed just too easy at that point. So that strategy, I get why they did it. I'm not saying it's a terrible strategy. I'm a little disappointed how it all panned out for them. I think that, Leclerc stays there and it might be a 3 and a 4 for them, kind of ends how it ended in pole as well after qualifying. So, yeah, it's still going to be Ferrari until they can kind of get their crap.
So I will say I think one of you're correct. Like what the thinking was is fresh set of tires off the start will be an advantage, and they used it. I think the whole thing was we got to mix it up. If we just go do what Red Bull's doing, we're slower.
Yeah.
So they actually also had an extra set of softs.
They did
during the race, and they were just hoping by some fluke that would come into play, and it didn't.
Oh yeah, because Red Bull went hard, and then right.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even have to use it, did they? Oh yeah,
Red Bull went soft, and then soft again, and then hard.
Yeah,
and then So, but there was an extra set of tires of new soft tires. Red Bull had to go into a used set of softs.
Right.
So they're just. I mean, they were throwing stuff against the wall because they knew they were slower. Like if they just played it straight and like did it the traditional way, they were not going to. So like maybe there'll be a safety car at the right time. We can put fresh softs on at the end. Like maybe Stroll crashes with like 10 laps left, and they got a safety car in, and now everyone's bunched up, and they're the only ones with fresh softs.
Which is like crazy, also, right?
Kind of stuff like that. Like I think that's what they were hoping for.
No,
there's just no
cars. Way. I know there was a virtual safety car, but that was it.
And very little. Other than McLaren, most of the cars were reliable.
Yeah. Well.
No, but Ferrari the first race of the year
was 41 laps too. So
and their other car finished. Like the only one where like both cars were F was McLaren.
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough. I think that it's going to be interesting. I know. Look, Alex mentioned it, right? He makes some good points. It's still a long season ahead, but that could go both ways, right? It could be bad or good.
It's a long season to watch Max just win every race. Yes.
Yeah, it's a long season ahead, But right, exactly, Evan. Red Bull's so far ahead that something drastic is going to happen. Is going to have to happen for any of those teams to really catch up with them. I think at this point, it's just going to be fun to see what happens for that second spot in the constructors. And look, no, actually, not in the constructors. In the world championship, because if constructors, anything can happen. If Checo, and I hate to say it, Checo, because we all know Max is Max, but if Checo doesn't drive the way that he's capable of driving, and he does some crazy shit like he did last time, right? Like last season, he had some issues where for one reason or another, you had someone get out in front of him. He had some issues with his car. His driving wasn't the best at certain times. The Ferraris can get ahead of the Red Bull in the constructors if they have finishes.
I don't think there's any. I think Max can win the constructors by himself.
I mean, he could,
but I do think that Checo, I would say, is not locked in the second place in the drivers.
Right.
Because I'm jumping to a lot of conclusions here, but if Max wins a majority of the races, that's where your big points gap comes from, like 25 down to 18 or 17 or whatever, 17, I think. And then everything else from there is like 2 points, 1 point. So Checo can keep banking second places. You're not building that much of a gap. Yeah, but Max is the one who's 25,
18, 15, and 12.
Yeah. So like you don't make up that many, don't get that big of a gap for finishing second, which is where he's going to finish most of the time. So that second place in the drivers might be up in the air because Max is going to win basically every race and just run away with the title.
And so, what do we want to go over now? Do we want to talk about George Russell's whining? Being
Okay. Oh, yes, we do.
This guy. We've kind of gone over Red Bull.
We have to talk about Ocon too, because that was just hilarious. There was some entertainment in this race, even though the level of screw-uppery was way up on the list there. But man, George Russell. So first of all, he qualified ahead of Hamilton. Actually, Alonso, Russell, and Hamilton almost like tied in qualifying. There were 0.05 between all three of them.
By the way, this is a really hot take by Evan, huh? If Checo, I'm sorry to cut you
off. Zero chance.
Daniel would be in that car at Monaco. Wow.
Zero chance.
From your mouth to Moni's ears, because
man, she would really stop showing up then. But
I will retire.
There is no chance. If you think Ricciardo is even in racing shape, that dude figured out what team had the best parties. And became their reserve driver. Because first he was going to Mercedes. They were, these Germans are really serious.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going back to Red Bull and party. That dude is enjoying the hell out of the hospitality area at these races. And that is that. If he has to emergency get into one of those cars, I don't even know if he'll be able to fit. Like, that man is not going to be in shape. There's no way he's staying in shape. Ricciardo is not trying to drive. He's out there to party. Anyway, back to our boy George Russell. So he immediately gets passed by Hamilton and right off the start. So he's behind him. He actually was about to get passed by Stroll when Stroll hit Alonso, which was hilarious because Alonso didn't know who hit him and spent the next 30 laps complaining that somebody hit him. Awesome. And there was no penalty. And it was like Aston Martin didn't want to tell him who did it. So just no action's happening. Sorry. And they wouldn't tell him that it was Stroll that just ran into him. But that's actually how Russell actually got back into behind Hamilton and in front of Alonso, because Alonso was in front of him and Stroll actually hit Alonso. That's how he got in front of Alonso in the first place. So he's barely staying on DRS range. So he'd use DRS to close the gap to Hamilton to 0.5, 0.6, and then Hamilton's faster through the whole lap. It goes back to 0.9 something, and he uses it. And then he gets on the radio and says, "Is Lewis reserving tires, or because I can go faster in this?" And there was no way he could go faster. He could barely stay in with DRS. He was matching lap times. So of course he predictably immediately locks up. So now the gap is more than a second. Now he's screwed. Then Alonso eats him up and passes him, of course.
Yep.
Then after the race, the first thing he says after the car sucks is, "Yeah, it's too bad. I think if I was the lead car, they could have prioritized me. I would have been up there where Lewis was." And I'm like, dude, you suck, man. Enough with this crap. You're not up there because he passed you. What are you talking about if you were up there? How'd you end up behind him? I wonder how that happened. Because he passed you. Then, to ice the cake, this guy comes in here and is if we need to sacrifice several races to eventually win, I'd rather do that than finish fifth. I'm like, are you high? What? That's a choice?
What's wrong with you?
As if that's a choice. Why wouldn't anyone do that?
I can't do it again.
No, he goes like this. He's onto the wall.
Onto the wall. No, but it's that's not a choice. What are we talking about? Oh yes, we have two choices. We can keep finishing fifth or sixth, or skip a couple of races and then win after that. I don't know what he's talking about. Hamilton was yeah, we got to get better. We're going to work hard. Did the normal stuff and your car sucks. And this dude is just out there whining. And I'm like, this guy's never winning a championship. Why does everyone think this guy is good? I don't get it. He was in midseason form. I'll tell you that. He was in midseason form on the whining scale.
Melanie looks like she's in midseason form too.
She didn't even have a preseason. Look at this. She's the Lance Stroll of the show. Broke her wrist, didn't show up, came to the race.
Oh man!
I'll take that as a compliment.
That was definitely a compliment. That was definitely.
Yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen with Mercedes.
Well, I mean, he's not gonna help. You gotta shut the hell up. Look, the car sucks. Everyone knows it does. Or relatively speaking, it's still the third or fourth best car in the grid. So okay, you want to go drive the McLaren instead, dude?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull an Evan and say if he doesn't perform, what is it? Give me a moment. If Russell doesn't perform, Mick will be in the car by Monaco.
Give me Mick.
I honestly forgot he was their reserve driver until you just mentioned that.
So relevant.
Or listen, I wouldn't be surprised if they put Drugovich there instead.
Drugovich, oh man,
that would be something else. He's supposedly a really damn good driver, right? So, and he beat the living daylights out of everyone in F2. It wasn't even close. I think he won every single race, if I'm not mistaken.
I cannot pretend to know Dragovich's F2 career.
Yeah, I think in the last season when he won it all, he beat.
All I know is he was supposed to race last weekend, damn it, and that asshole came back with broken wrists or whatever. Drove.
Wait, so if Drugovich races, does he end up in P6 also? You think?
That would be interesting because he would have had to. I think, P6. I don't think he would have been able to pass Hamilton. He would have been able to beat Russell.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Russell's too busy whining, saying I should be first because I'm George Russell.
Yeah, I would.
Why are these cars not moving out of the way for me to pass?
What'd you think about the? What'd you guys think about the AlphaTauris with Tsunoda and De Vries? You know what makes only chance at driving this year to start filming Top Gun 3? That's awesome.
I mean, Germany does have really strong social programs. Maybe his unemployment benefit is he gets to be Mercedes's. He's a German national. They got to take care of him. He got fired. Maybe this is how he just gets to be the Mercedes reserve driver.
That's funny.
I honestly don't remember De Vries at all.
Yeah, I think he ended up.
I don't remember the AlphaTauris in that race, to be honest.
No, and you know who I'm a little bit surprised that I thought that they might have been a little more competitive just because they tend to start off a little hot as the Haas with Hülkenberg and Magnussen. At one point it was Hülkenberg who had who's racing really well, and I think Magnussen ended up in front of him at the end. But I think that's a pretty solid team. I know that they can't stand each other either, kind of like Gasly and Ocon. But I think that they're both some solid, drivers, and I think that they could be okay. What was it? P15 and P13. I mean, it's kind of crappy, but
that's so below average.
Yeah, it's not great, and neither is. I mean, that's a. What happened to What happened to Ocon again? Why did he DNF?
Oh man!
Oh my god!
All right, we gotta talk about my boy Ocon, who I'm a fan of, but this is like.
Yeah, he's a good driver.
And he qualified way ahead of Gasly. I'm like, my boy, because one of my best friends is a huge huge Gasly fan. Well, he ended up having to drop back to 20th.
Right.
He didn't get out of Q1. And then he had his lap time delayed, so he went from 17th to 20th. It wasn't like he was doing good.
In the top 10,
and then Ocon actually got into, I think he got into Q3, right? Whatever, he qualified much higher. So my boy is showing him how it's done. Here we go. So this is how Ocon's race went. First, he pulled up to the grid wrong. He went past his grid spot. So that before the race has even started, he's getting a penalty.
Then he came in too hot.
Well, we're getting to that. So. He then, on the first lap, bumps someone, damages his front wing. So at this point, we're less than a lap in. He has committed a penalty offense, which they're going to give him 5 seconds for, and damaged his car. So he does the first stint because it wasn't bad enough damage where they had to pit to replace it. So he's got the 5-second penalty. He pulls into the pit. They don't wait 5 seconds before starting to change the wing. That's a 10-second penalty. He then, after they change the wing, speeds coming out of the pit lane. That's another 5 seconds. So he comes back out. He's now way back because he had a longer pit stop. But he also did not serve the 5 seconds correctly. So just the next 10 minutes is just FIA announcements. Ocon under investigation for something. Penalty. So that comes through. So now he's got another 15 seconds. And they got to go on the radio to be like, you have several penalties. It's total of 15 seconds. So he has to come back in. So after he served that, he was laps down. Then they finally just retired the car. But it is
screw it.
It is an amazing amount of screw ups. I mean, just How do you not pull up to the grid correctly? It was impressive. It was impressive from my boy there, who I still think is better than Gasly. We're going to see over the next 22 races, but that was not good.
Omar can still laugh at Zach Brown though, because he still ended up better than the McLarens. That's the battle that I want to see, is the Alpine against the McLaren this year. That's going to be fun to watch. The battle of Zach Brown and Omar Schnaffenhofer, whatever his last name is. Weird ass last name. Guy's American as can be. Is Omar Schnaffenhofer. Unbelievable.
Isn't it like just Schnaffauer or something? It's not. There's not that. You're adding a lot of syllables, man. You're adding a lot.
Omar Schnaffenhofer, whatever the guy's name is, you know. Oh man. Let's see, Aston will be a force if they had a better second driver. I wonder how bad Lance has to do before his dad says enough. Hey, he ended up in P6 with a broken wrist, man. I'm taking that all day for Aston Martin, if you ask me. So I get that he's not a great driver, but you know the truth is that he's finished in the top 10 more than last year, more than a lot of the others on the grid. So having him as a second driver, you got Alonso, obviously, who's one of the best ever. As your number one, I think you're all right. I think you're gonna. I don't think they think that they're gonna win the championship. So for them, it's about being competitive and ending up at the top of the midfield. And I think that they have a strong chance of doing that for sure.
Don't you guys think the air is a little like clearer, lighter without Latifi?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like now, I genuinely.
You mean on the grid? Yes.
Yeah, it's just it feels.
He's not taking up.
Nice, it's like when you wake up, you go on vacation, and you get there and it's rainy, and you're like, "Wow, are you kidding me?" I literally looked at the forecast and it didn't say it was gonna rain. You go to sleep, kind of upset because it's rainy, and then you wake up, you open your curtains, it's sunny, and you walk out to your private beach, and the breeze is just hitting, and you're like, oh my God, this is what I signed up for. That's exactly what I feel like the grid is.
Is that how we're describing not having Latifi in F1? Wow.
Now we have someone to like actually be like excited for, like rooting for, replacing Latifi, so.
I don't know. The way the season is going, like I could use Latifi wiping Max out a few times. I mean, you're losing some chance here for some excitement.
Honestly, I'll put my money on Russell. He'll probably take him out eventually.
Listen, right now.
He has to catch up to him. Maybe when he's getting lapped.
Right now, my prediction.
He gets lapped.
My prediction is coming is so far on. It's still on, and I'm still doing well with my prediction. Okay, right now I've got the Williams is not finishing in 10th. Right now they are in 8th. So anything 8 or higher, I'm winning that prediction. I'm getting that one right. So far so good.
It's a long season, man.
It's trending the right way.
We're gonna get that pneumatic fluid in there next race, man. Williams is not gonna see what's coming. They're not gonna know what hit them. Literally, probably the way these guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, just like Fernando didn't know. It was his own guy who hit him. Not gonna know
that was still like. I mean, there was so much unintentional comedy in that race. Like Norris is in again. Like every 5 laps, just like what is. And then Ocon like just making every penalty possible without hitting anyone. And then Alonso not knowing who hit him and just begging for a penalty. And like you can tell they're probably in the garage like. Should we tell him it was the boss's son? No, don't tell him it was the boss's son.
I could just see like an episode of DTS with like the clown music in the background, the circus music in the background, and then making a whole joke out of all of that, and then Gunther coming on the thing and going, "What the is going on?" I can just see it. I can just see it all, even though it's gonna be funny.
Did you guys see the clip of Horner? And Toto like going back and forth, and then at the end, okay, tactical purposing. That was the funniest I've ever seen. Oh my God!
Yeah, they don't like each other too much, which is
no. Awesome. It's great. It's great. That's like literally, I have a pitch, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna pitch it to a different platform, not Netflix. We're gonna do something along the lines of the housewives of the grid. And I'm telling you guys, that's where the money is, because the amount of beef that we would just get on camera between Horner
So
and
you
Wolf.
think we can get them all, like all the principals, all the owners, in one house for a summer?
Oh my God!
Awesome.
Please,
For winter, actually, for winter.
that's brilliant.
And in the mountains.
If anyone that works, like in Paramount or like Apple TV, if you're watching this right now,
no, Vish, she's asking us. She's asking us, and she's the
I was
one
about to say, who works for a major media company?
Like,
Jazz, do you work for a major media company? Because I don't.
She's the one that works at a major media company. Are you serious?
Do you happen to know anyone that works at the largest Spanish language broadcaster in the world? Do you know anyone, Jazz? I might know one person that works.
Yeah. A funny story is, you want to hear a funny story? So my cell phone, I've had my cell number for, I don't know, like 10 years now, right? Maybe even more. When I first got it, I kept getting like text messages or WhatsApp messages asking for a certain guy, right? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, this is not, this is my number now. He doesn't have this number. 10 years later, I'm still getting these text messages and I'm still getting these calls. And they're asking for this guy, right? I won't name who he is, but they keep asking. And every time I pick up the phone, I go, hey, how many times do I have to tell you? You're the same person that's called me for the past 10 years. This is not his phone number anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you sure you're not so-and-so? I'm like, yeah, I think I know who the hell I am. Okay? So I'm like, what's going on here? They'll send me pictures. This is not you. I'm like, no, dude, that's not me. And then you come to find out, that the guy that used to have my phone number is a broadcaster for Spanish language ESPN. So
You're kidding me.
And I know exactly who he is. I've spoken to him over the phone, and I've spoken to his counterpart over the phone on like the desk guy that does the highlights with him on ESPN too. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I think we could pitch it to like ESPN, Moni.
Guys,
I got the contacts on Spanish ESPN. I don't know about English one. I don't know how to fly. But
we're on the come up. We'll get there.
The next time they call me, I say, yeah, this is him. This is I've got an idea. I want to pitch it to the executives over at ESPN.
This is where Jazz ends up as part of like a drug deal on accident.
Oh, geez.
For sure.
No, none of that. Anyways, we've got a week off, right?
Wow, Alex just outed the person's name that he's dealing with. Who the hell's Kelly Butler?
Oh, wow.
And yes, I went and put it on the screen, so now I'm involved in this, I guess.
Yep. Kelly Butler, wherever you are, my friend.
You've been outed.
Yeah, go screw yourself, Gus. All right?
I don't think that was sarcastic.
Yeah, go screw yourself anyway. Yeah. It's all Listen, me and Gus, we spend at least 23 hours out of the 24 hours a day sending each other memes and videos of funny crap on Instagram. That's like what we do all day. And I don't know how we do it, but we do it. So, yeah, go screw yourself, Gus. Anyway, so there it is. I do love him, though. That's friends for life. Listen to me. Do
you want Moni and I to leave, and you can?
No. The love affair.
I can get him the stream already. You can hop in, and we can leave.
Like interrupt.
Yeah, I feel like we're interloping here, Moni, on something that
So listen. What do we got? Next week? We've got a week off as they travel to
Saudi Arabia.
For the Saudi GP. That should be a nice one. I think it's on. Is that one under the lights as well? It should be, right?
Yeah, it's a night race there. It's afternoon here.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. A little night race action, and we'll definitely cover that for you next
Hoping
week.
There's no terrorist attacks this time.
Wait, I'm sorry. The race is at 1 p.m.
Yeah,
our time. Yeah,
Oh,
8-hour difference, right, or 6-hour difference?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Actually, it is at 8 p.m. there.
Yeah, so 7-hour difference. There you go. Interesting. Yeah, that should be a good race. I think we got to see if the Ferraris can come back strong, if Aston Martin stays strong, and at least at the top of the grid, and if Mercedes can kind of hang a little bit.
So we'll definitely get into this more next week when we preview that. But that is the famously dangerous track that's not safe to drive on in the middle of like a terrorist attack last year. Like, no, we will race.
Oh, and not only was it a terrorist attack, but It was at the Aramco where
Yeah, no, they were attacking essentially the race.
Yeah, the race, because that's where Aston Martin.
And then some of the teams threatened to leave, and then Saudi Arabia was like, "You're not leaving," and they're like, "Okay," because they knew what that meant.
Yeah. Kind of scary.
Oh, but they're back. They're back. No problem. We'll go right back then.
Formula One, baby.
The track itself isn't safe. Like the asphalt came apart a little bit. The barriers are too close. The speed's too high. So other than that, it should be a great race.
Oh yeah. Other than the death track,
I will definitely side with Moni on that one. I'd prefer Latifi not there. Bad things happen when he's around. That's a dangerous circuit. You know.
I agree.
Good that Latifi's not there.
I'm telling you.
But we will be back at it next Wednesday at 8 p.m. I like this start time. This is a good start time. This is a fun time. Finish off early. Alex and Gus and Evan, you can put the kids to sleep early. We have to put our kid to sleep early as well, as Moni will be going to sleep right after this. But aside from that, we can't wait. We got the Saudi GP next weekend, and it'll be good times. Make sure you tune in and check us out Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel, and also Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. We've got the 6 Rings Canes show for all you Canes crossover fans. But
and I've been throwing random crap on the channel. Go watch it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You put one up today, so. Good Lord. All right, bro. Close up shop. Alex.
Whoa. So wait, hold on. So when we did the Twitter space, the one time we did Twitter space last year, he's had another, because he was up on that like whispering. Right. That's where the whole late nights as Alex started, because he was whispering into the thing to not wake the baby, which is not the baby he's talking about here. There's now another baby.
Yeah, close up shop, Alex. Jeez Louise, bro.
Yes, congrats.
Alex, he's
that way,
straight to the point. Let me tell you that.
That way, when we do Twitter Spaces, you can talk a little bit louder next time. you and our friend from I don't even know where, in Africa somewhere.
Oh, the dude from it was from Kenya.
Kenya.
Just showed up in there, started thought it was like a legitimate. I mean, I don't want to use the word legitimate. Thought it was like a legitimate F1 stuff, but it was really just us hanging out.
It was pretty pathetic. Yeah, Tab, you missed it, bro. That's all right. Rewatch Crew, baby. Let's go. We rewatch Crew. Check it out now. So
yeah, you can be our 10th viewer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, whatever, man. We're getting a couple hundred, so I'll take it. Oh, you know what? I gotta talk to you about that, Tab. Whatever. I'll talk off air. Anyways, make sure you keep it locked. Moni, Vish, good to have the whole pit crew back here, and keep it locked. We'll see you.
Crossover Crew, Canes Wake Forest at noon tomorrow. ACC tournament starts for us.
Yeah, none of you are gonna watch that. I know.
You don't know. There could be some Canes Hoops people.
Yeah, Fernie
I can't even watch that. It's during the damn day, man. This noon start time.
I'll watch it. Anyways, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Take it easy.